Dun 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 Show's World.
Welcome to Show's World, gamers. Josh here, and it is once again that time of the week. That's right, as this week draws to a close, I wanted to take a moment to look at some of the biggest video game news stories from this last week. We're also going to take a look at some of the biggest gaming announcements that took place over this last week, and of course, this week's biggest video game releases that you're definitely not going to want to miss. But do me a quick favor, if this is your first time on the channel, make sure you hit that subscribe button and join in on the fun. Alright gamers, let's kick off this week in review with a few news stories. And we are going to start with Pokemon, as there was a huge data breach leading to a bunch of leaked Pokemon future info. Most of it was all codenamed, but we did get a summary from Centro Leaks breaking down yearly with 2026 Pokemon Wave-Wind, which is Gen 10. 2027, we would get the DLC for that game, and then in 2027, 2028, the next Legends game would be released, and in 2028, 2029, an online multiplayer, multi-region game. Then, in the year 2030, that's when we can expect the next big Gen 11 game. Now, we also did finally get the release of the much-discussed ROG Ally Xbox consoles, with the base model priced at, I think it's $699, and the Ally X version a whopping $999, so this thing's almost $1,000. Now, contrary to what much of the rhetoric about this system would tell you, now this console was not made by Xbox. Instead, Xbox kind of licensed their logos and stuff and allowed ROG to use Xbox branding and their new Windows design created for portable gaming devices. The console is a portable PC, and early impressions have been very positive by those who have previewed the device. It looks like this thing's awesome if you're willing to, drop that much money on it. Now, also, the supposed leaks about the end of the Xbox in the console market, well, it does appear to have been premature, as days after Xbox reiterated they are working with AMD to design the chipset for the next Xbox console, promising a powerhouse. A bunch of info has apparently leaked, showing the next Xbox codename Magnus, info including what appears to be a more powerful than the reported PlayStation 6 specs, and a 2027 planned release window. The big question is, what are these new consoles going to be priced at? Because it's getting out of hand out there. Now, we also did get news this week that we are getting a sequel to the huge hit Minecraft movie that released into theaters earlier this year, and, well, it absolutely killed it, grossing more than $950 million worldwide. The sequel, coming from Warner Bros. And Legendary, is officially on its way just 2 years after the original film's release, as the new movie is scheduled to release on July 23rd, 2027. Jared Hess is returning to direct, and Jack Black and Jason Momoa are both expected to return also. Alright gamers, next up let's take a look at some gaming announcements, and we are going to start with Silly Polly Beast. It received a release date announcement trailer this week, with the game releasing on October 28th, so we don't have to wait long for this one, for the PlayStation 4, PlayStation 5, PC, Xbox One, and Xbox Series systems. No news on a Switch release at this time, but I guess we'll have to wait and see on that. The game is a survival horror action game where you play as a young girl named Polly, armed with a skateboard, who escapes a brutal orphanage and finds herself in a nightmarish fog-covered underworld. The game blends fast-paced gunfights with exploration, puzzle solving, and survival horror elements, featuring a unique mix of top-down and side-scrolling combat. Now, Avatar the Fighting Game was announced this week. Well, I guess it was kind of re-announced, as it was canceled earlier this year. But things have officially changed, as the game has been announced for a 2026 release date on the Nintendo Switch 2, PlayStation consoles, PC, and Xbox systems. Avatar the Fighting Game is a working title, so expect that to change when the fast-paced 1v1 fighter where you battle as your favorite characters from the Avatar franchise releases. Now, Beneath received a release date announcement trailer this week, with the game officially launching on the PlayStation 5, PC, and Xbox Series systems on October 28th. So another October 28th starting to fill up pretty quick. Now, in the first-person survival horror game, you take on the role of diver Noah Quinn, who became trapped in the ocean's depths and must survive against monstrous creatures, dwindling resources, and a creepy madness. The game features a single-player campaign with a focus on resource management, stealth, and combat. Alright gamers, let's finish up with this week's new video game releases, and we got a big one this week. We got a huge release this week, and once again, Nintendo's keeps pumping out the huge exclusive games as well. It's Pokemon Week. That's right, this week got the release of Pokemon Legends Z and A on the Nintendo Switch 1 and Nintendo Switch 2. The game ditches the traditional turn-based gameplay style of the mainline games and instead features real-time battles, the return of Mega Evolutions, and an urban redevelopment plan for Lumoy City. The game is the second in the Pokemon Legends series and serves as a sequel to Pokemon X and Pokemon Y. Now, we also received the console release of NASCAR 25 as the game released this week on both PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series systems, with the PC version scheduled to release in a few weeks on November 11th. The game will feature all 4 NASCAR National Series, including the ARCA Menard Series, NASCAR Xfinity Series, NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series, and NASCAR Cup Series, with laser scan tracks and car models and a career mode, aiming to provide an authentic yet accessible experience for both casual fans and hardcore sim racers. Now, Kaku, the Ancient Seal, released this week on PlayStation 4, PlayStation 5, PC, Xbox One, and Xbox Series systems. The game is an open-world action-adventure RPG where players control a young boy named Kaku on a quest to restore balance to a prehistoric fantasy world. Accompanied by his flying pig companion Piggy, Kaku must find lost elemental souls, explore diverse landscapes, and battle creatures. Now, Randomax also released this week on the Nintendo Switch consoles and PC. The game plays like an arcade vertical shooter, but with roguelite elements. In the game, you pilot ships or a mech with randomized weapons and power-ups to fight the Randomax pirates in a chaotic retro-style arcade experience where stages and boss order are also randomized. We did check out an early version of the game here on the channel, so definitely check out that video for a deeper look at this one. Now, Adrenaline Rampage released this week on the PlayStation 5, PC, and Nintendo Switch consoles. The game is a 2D platformer roguelite where players fight techno-zombies in a dark sci-fi world. It features fast-paced action, multiple characters with unique abilities, and a core gameplay loop of killing enemies to level up and upgrade skills. The game includes randomly generated levels, a variety of enemies and bosses, as well as meta upgrades that carry over between runs. Alright gamers, that concludes this week in review for the week ending on October 17th. The week started with Tron Ares releasing in theaters, where this time, the Tron video game universe breaks out of the digital video game world, combining with the real world. And this one is not doing well in theaters, but I highly suggest going and checking it out. I love the Tron franchise, and this movie's a lot of fun. Then I continued my playthrough of what many refer to as the best 3D platformer ever, as I am having a ton of fun playing Super Mario Galaxy 2 for the first time, and I actually just rolled credits, and is it the best 3D platformer of all time? When it released, it definitely was. Now, it's still up there. It's still up there. It's pretty close. I'm not sure if I would give it the trophy for greatest of all time, but it's definitely in the discussion. And the week ended with a big week for Pokemon, coming to an end from a huge data leak to their newest game getting dumped online before its release date to Pokemon Legends XY finally releasing. But let me know anything we may have missed in the comments, and thanks for joining us today, gamers. Do me a favor, if this is your first time on the channel, make sure you hit that subscribe button, and we hope to see you on the next one. Shows World, out.